Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to Broken Sword 2, The Smoking Mirror. We are at 95% right now, so decent chance we're going to finish here. We've got this pretty complicated puzzle, which kind of is the only puzzle we've seen in the game, except for point-and-click adventure puzzle games. So you have these dials, you have to match the two dials on this side, which no great indicator that this is where you're supposed to match and not per se here or down here or down here. Uh, it would have been nice if there was something outlining this as a piece of art to say, yes, this is where this match. When you match those two items, you can click the corresponding tile on the top and bottom here. And when those two match to make the shape on this tile, you click this tile. And I'm hoping,
The tile
since
didn't move at all.
this is our second attempt at this, we will be done.
The tile didn't
Okay.
move at all.
I didn't quite do it right. I need to change this tile to this tile to this tile, which means I didn't need to change this over here. And you can somewhat speed this process up by standing on one side of these dials and clicking the center to decide which way it's going to spin. So I need to do this, and then I believe if I stand on this side and click on this, I'll hopefully get the right one. It'll be a little redundant to have to do all four of the tiles since we've proven the concept. Alright, so now click on this one. It's not the easiest thing to see, honestly, and they want you to solve this puzzle. You should be so zoomed in on this and see everything. A lot easier than what we are seeing. So this one in particular, when we look
The
at
monkey
it,
held a board containing more tiles with colored glyphs on them.
we need to do this one and let's see. I don't even know. This one maybe? I guess. If only I could click this right here.
The tile didn't want to.
Alright, we'll start with this. We need a green hat with a round dot. And I assume it's this one. Alright, that seems right. And so then we just need to come click on this until we get to this, which I could have gotten to if I spun the wheel differently, but whatever. Honestly, having done two of the tiles already, I'd kind of just like to skip the rest of this. Any time they make you prove 4 times that you know how to do a puzzle, they're not really treating you with that standard Nintendo 3 times and you win solution. This is weird. This is the right piece, but I would swear that can't be it. I guess we'll try it. So click this. 1, 2. Then come over here and click this twice. 1, 2. And is that what we were looking for? Maybe they're changing the puzzle a little bit here to keep me on my toes. Because it's going to be the top 2 buttons. And let's hit this. Alright. Final solution, as best as I can tell, is this hat with this piece. So this will be interesting. We need the 3 green dots on this. So if that's a 180 on that, and then I just need to move it 1 the other way. Walk over here. What is George doing all of this time? You almost get to the point where this is a game. This is Nicole's game. I wouldn't say it's quite 50-50, though. It's almost there. It's making a lot more progress than the first game, even with the director's cut. But I would still say there's some issues of it focusing more on George, and George really has no reason whatsoever to even be in this game, in this game series. Let's see. Being a lawyer, it would be kind of funny if he was always like getting Nicole out of trouble and out of jail as a lawyer. And I can almost see her being slightly physically weak, and thus she needs George for manual grunt work. But most of the puzzles throughout this game could have easily been done by Nicole. And let's just hope this works. We didn't make a mistake. That's all 4. And
Et voilà! George once told me that there's an act to finding secret doors. I think I'm beginning to get the hang of it.
so how far are we now? 98%. 98%. So 1 more puzzle or 1 more cutscene, and that's probably it. I suspect as far as actual scenes and levels, there's only 1 more to see.
So I thought, this is it, you know? This is true love. Anyway, I have to leave for a few weeks, and when I come back, what do I find? Damn right. And with who? Labano. That creep.
Huh?
Yeah.
He's talking
that's exactly
about
what I thought.
the very, very beginning of the game. And what's weird is George and Nicole never even discussed this, so he's kind of being jealous for no reason as far as he knows. Are we gonna have to do a puzzle?
Heck. Looks like another dead-end titty poco. Any ideas? I was hoping for something a little more constructive. Never mind, I'll have a look around.
So, what page are we on? 21. Wow. 98% done. It looks like the game wants us to do something. Let's take this torch and hopefully that doesn't just immediately open a secret passage. Let's use the torch with Titty Poco to light it. We've already done this once, so... but George shouldn't know that he has a lighter.
Look, I need to light this torch. Can you do something clever with a couple of sticks, or flint and tinder, or... Or a cheesy novelty cigarette lighter, as it turned out.
And see, this is actually items that probably don't really exist anymore. I suspect, like, novelty cigarette lighters that look like guns have become too dangerous in the modern world to actually be sold. You could probably find miniature versions of them, but I wouldn't be surprised if you couldn't get even that. I have a bunch of items here. Let's see, do you want this?
I didn't think he'd be interested.
Let's see, let's look at our other items. We have the stone, we have the statue, which really never did anything. We have the newspaper, we have the reed.
The reed was a lot shorter since that creature had savaged it.
And then we have the maple syrup and the fire. So we have also a lever.
There was a picture of somebody holding a torch and another guy with a lever. The lever was real.
Almost as if they knew that this was going to happen.
Well, there was nothing else to do around here, so I pulled the lever.
Again,
Nothing's happened. Oh, I hate that. Don't you hate that?
Like,
Titty Poco?
feels a little
Oh my-
too easy there. And then the scene reset too. Man, this new engine doesn't even handle the game right.
Great. I had no idea where I was, no idea where the others had got to, and time was running out to stop Karzak. Still, I wasn't dead yet, so it wasn't all bad news.
I don't even know why they bothered to do a new engine, honestly. Just release the same game files via ScumVM and just call it a day. It would have run better and worked better. It seems like there's just a desire here to redo the past and retcon things and change it for no reason. Here, let's go ahead and light this torch over here, and hopefully that's not going to move us forward too fast. So 98% done. Looks like there's a statue, looks like there's a lever, looks like there's another item, another ways to go. Let's just pull the lever first and see what happens. We like to do that, apparently.
A stone slab that must have weighed tons sealed the door.
Let's look at the door.
Another doorway led out of the room. The doorway was sealed with a massive slab of stone.
So let's go this way. I guess maybe we opened this doorway?
Charming.
Is this some kind of puzzle?
The statue looked like it doubled as an incense burner.
And
The statue looked like it doubled as an incense burner.
lever here. Now open that door. I thought for a second spikes might come up out of the floor.
It was an enormous stone doorway.
So
Every time I think this place can't get any spookier, it does.
let's look at the statue.
There was nothing I could do to the carving, even if I'd wanted to, which I didn't. How rapoosh. The carving reminded me of Lane for some reason.
I don't even get the reference there. And there's nothing to walk further down this way.
Yes, finally! I'm out of here.
Well, that was easy.
There was a huge doorway in the far wall.
I did not really know that solution, nor for a second did I think that was
Once
going to
more
solve
into
it.
the unknown.
And so we take a torch after leaving a torch. It doesn't even make sense. Like, why not just pick up the other torch? Well, we're getting a cutscene here. And we're actually back to 99% of the game done. I don't remember any of this. In fact, I don't remember much of this game, and I can kind of see why I wouldn't remember much of this game. Frankly, because so much of this game really has nothing to do with anything. It's just messing around, talking to people,
Cool.
solving puzzles.
Onwards
for
and
no
downwards,
reason.
Mr. Stobbart.
So another lever. Again, this feels like something that you could have easily just had 3 layers on the stair, and each part of the stairs needed the stone to unlock, and then you could have had it been more open world where you
This was it.
could have
The
come here
pyramid
much
central
earlier.
chamber. Its dark heart. Once before in my life, I'd stood in front of a door and thought, this is it. If I go through there, I'm going to die. I'd been wrong then. I hoped I was wrong now. This was the door that led to the central chamber. And the smoking mirror.
And will the mirror actually be smoking? And all 3 of them. That's Karzak, apparently. It is smoking. So the hero turns around and is a good guy. Boy, is this kind of loud. Really, really loud. For the time, probably the best sound effects you could do, but way too loud. And then again, it feels like the cutscene is just abruptly cut. And so that's the end of the game. Again, it feels almost like they were going to do a cartoon. But certainly, while I might believe that that was their idea in the first game, they certainly must have known that wasn't the way it was going to work in the second. It's a awful ending, really, because instead of solving a puzzle and saving the day, you solve a bunch of pointless puzzles, which kind of are the only puzzles in the entire game. Here we have the music playing very low. Now I know I did fiddle with the audio, but it hasn't been really an issue with the music being too quiet up to this point. Let's see. We've got a growing list of people who worked on this version than compared to the first game, but in every other way, I would say the first game was way better, and the second game feels rushed, and it feels like it's just a combination of ideas with no main story writer having an idea or something happen. I'm not saying that they should have continued the Templar stuff, but they should have had this whole Mayan story been a central part of all the points. What in the world were they thinking to have 2-3 scenes of the game just puzzles dealing with a film crew at the very end of near the end of the game? Why that? Why not have that way earlier in the game? Now, that being said, it may have been more of an open world game before they did the remastered version instead of being completely linear here. That's what the director's cut certainly did in the first game. It cut out all the open worldness where you could potentially go one place and solve things. I could totally see that maybe there was an Act 1 working up to finding out you needed the stones, and then Act 2 was this huge open world section where you had to actually find all 3 of the stones, and each one of those was they're each individual sections, and that would help a little bit, but it certainly doesn't help the fact that, like, when Nicole is in England, she goes from the British Museum to a subway to a dock with no interconnection in between. Just it makes the game feel like maybe they were planning on having it be huge, like a 30-60 hour game, and then the budget just got cut, and the parts that they had designed just didn't work together, and they weren't combined. We saw, certainly, here you have sequence animation and arrangement, and I would say these people did not arrange the elements very well. A lot of the elements in this game just could not be arranged. They can't work together at all. Not as it was, and probably not in any order. You just can't go from warehouse to Mayan temple to a gallery to film set. It's just too much happening. So the story sucked. I did like the fact that Nicole played a bigger role. The romance between them, nothing happened. They never talked to each other at all, really, or moved that forward. So Broken Sword now, for 2 games, has had this implied romance between George and Nicole, and as far as we know, this may just be an unreliable narrator in the eyes of George, seeing a romance there that doesn't really exist. Andre came back for no real reason. There was no reason to start the game tied up to a chair and set on fire. Just yet another scene altogether. Just added in weird ways. I can't even, in my mind, figure out a way to put these elements together. I think you might have done better, frankly, if you'd put these elements back into the first game and just had that first game be a lot longer and have that good story of the Shadow of the Templars play out here, because this Mayan story, like, nothing helpful there at all. It's not good. Title song, Happiness is an Inside Job. Maybe that's what's playing right now. It's steel drums and Jamaican music for what I can barely hear of it. It's not terrible, but not really helpful either. I guess I would have to assume that by the time this game came out, it was all CD-ROMs so they had CD quality audio, but the audio certainly still had some problems. Recorded at a studio, the music was. I'm not sure if the voice acting was. The director's cut of the first game's audio was awful. Here, it has some severe technical issues, but isn't really terrible except for in a few places where you can kind of clearly see they didn't even change the audio from the original game. 1997, 2010s. So the remaster came out in 2010. Here in 2017, it probably needs yet another remaster, or just don't bother touching it. It needs remakes is what it needs. And here we've got a still image of Tetralopoke, like he's coming back. Yeah, right. And then we've got some other things. Let's just look at the audio. Yeah, I have the music way down, so I fully will accept that that's the reason why you couldn't hear the end scene. But when you start turning it up this loud, it's pretty loud there. The audio bounces all over the place, and then the soundstage bounce is even worse, with many lines of dialogue put directly in the left side with nothing in the right side, and lines of dialogue vice versa put in the right side with nothing in the left side, trying to get at some weird effects. Let's see what these pictures. Okay, so here we have the promotional comic that I think was on their website when they were doing the remastered version. This certainly wasn't in the game. And the art styles, I did not like the art styles in the game in general, of some weird reaction faces going on and weird art choices. Can I speak to Nico Collard, please? Nico Collard is what he calls her. Who am I? I'm George Stobbart. Who is that? Oh, Andre Le Bonneau. I should have known. So here's the father, dying of cancer in the background. Nico's out on a story. What do you want, George? I'm very busy here. Nico wanted to know how my father was. Will you tell her? Tell her. Yes, tell her what, George? Tell her looks like I won't need to be in New York for much longer. Oh, okay, I'll tell her. Click. And so that's part of it down, and then we go to this. I discovered a drug operations being run through the suburbs of Paris by a gangster named Karzak, and these are gangsters we never saw, I suppose. Okay, let's check out the cargo. The boss will be here soon. Beautiful, aren't they? He was bringing stuff in through a bogus import company specializing in objet d'art. Busting the operation would make a great story for my newspaper. Smash. But I needed evidence. Even better, on the inside, eh? And timing was everything. What the? And here's Nicole. Over here. That and a good cover story. You guys are lucky I'm not from the southern mob. I could have snuck up and blown you all away before you even knew I was here. And who the hell are you, sister? My name is none of your business. I am Messrs. Karzak, new logistics coordinator. He needs to see the merchandise, but he's heard reports of a double crossing by the Colombians and doesn't want to risk the coming here in person. So the camouflage worked good. Hey, how do you know you're not a cop? If I was the law, I would have seized the consignment from the SS Diogenes when it was docked yesterday, or when you picked it up from Quay 18. Is that like Bay 18 in French? Now I'll take the package for the boss to check. Thanks. Wait here for your orders. I made sure they wouldn't be going anywhere for a while. Plenty of time for me to check out the evidence and call Inspector Moo. At least that was the plan. But then Karzak showed up. It was time to get moving before everything blew up in my face. I knew Karzak was a violent criminal. Boss, that was quick. I just gave the package to your logistics coordinator. Logistics coordinator? What are you talking about? But I had underestimated his murderous temper. You fool, I have no logistics coordinator. See, now this story doesn't help anything by showing that he's a crazy killer at the beginning. Particularly since we don't even really hear about Karzak for a little while into the game. And that was no ordinary package. You two better get it back, or you'll be next. Crack, crack, crack. Lucky for me that Karzak had been in too much of a hurry to lock his car. Hey, look, get down. Kaboom. Whatever. Something about the package didn't feel right. Once I put some distance between me and Karzak, I ripped it open and realized that this was more than just drug smuggling. But by the time I dumped the car, I was just wanted a hot bath and a glass of wine. I needed time to think. Police investigators saw reports of gunfire and explosion in an industrial area of Southern Paris. Hello? But I was out of luck. Oh, you're still here. Of course, enjoying the new TV and waiting for you to enjoy your company. Oh, the TV. Thanks for installing that. No problem. What have you got there? I'm not sure. I just know that it's valuable. I think I can help you again. It's a Mayan ritual stone from the classical period, about 1200 years old. If you need to know more, there must be an expert at my university that I could put you in touch with. That would be great. Meanwhile, perhaps you could keep the stone safe. Binge, sir. Oh, and that reminds me. I have something for you. For me? Oh, yes, you shouldn't have. Oh, it's just a little gift for a beautiful woman. And okay, we go here. And I mean you really shouldn't have. Look, I'm sorry, I'm very tired. Thanks for everything. Before you go, Andre, did anyone phone while I was out? No. No one phoned. Continued in the game. So, is that all the first story, or I guess that is. It's just the comic, and then we have here the dialogue. So if you really just wanted to read the game that you just played, you can do that now. Wow, look at this. It's not even animating, right? But I see no reason why you would want that. And as far as other options, is there any developers commentary or directors or anything like that? No. So I kind of desperately now want to play the original versions of both games. Although, if I had my choice, I'd just play the original version of the first game and skip the smoking mirror, because I don't think it was that good of a game, even in the first place. We can, however, go listen to the credits music for a second. Is it any louder now? Just a little bit. Did I turn the music back down? I guess I did. Let's go. Slightly bit louder music. I won't sit here and go through this. A lot of problems that the remastered version did not add, did not fix, perhaps created themselves. Other problems. Seems like, while I can't remember much of this game because of just the problems of the original, it seems like the remastered just made it worse. In fact, this might be the best example I've ever seen of a remaster making a game worse. Maybe I could think of something more, but it would be very hard to think of anything. Yeah, it's a shame. I do like the story of the Broken Sword series, and I think a lot of it may just have to do with the commitment. There are at least 5 games in the series, so By the time we get into 3, 4, and 5, we may very well have forgiven and forgotten a lot of what happened in 1 and 2. 1 by itself isn't that bad of a game, although the director's cut made it really awful. Again, though, I have to say, if you want to play this game, go find the game files and play it on the Scum VM. This new engine helped nothing. It messed things up. It added the comic books, and the hints and the inventory system seem a little different. Probably no hints or inventory system, but then it also feels like it changed the entire way the game plays in a bad way. And so I would call this demastered versus remastered. Although I guess technically it has been remastered. I just don't like the remastered version. Again, much like the Star Wars remastered versions, how most fans don't like it. But it's slightly different from the first game because I actually liked the first game, and honestly, if I could remember, I'd probably say I didn't like the second game when I played it the first time either. The biggest problem with the smoking mirror, before we wrap up here, most definitely is the Central American city. You spend at least an hour and a half to 2 hours in that city just randomly talking to people, going through way too much dialogue. There was no part in the first game where you did that much talking. Maybe you could have done that much talking if you were just completely off track, but to be on track and still have to do that much talking is just insane. Anywho, that's it for this series. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps YouTube, lets them know that my videos are worth watching. It helps me on YouTube. If you want to support me even further, go to my main YouTube page. On the right there's a button that says support this channel. You can click that and make a donation. Also on my main YouTube page is the subscribe button and the bell you need to click next to it so you get notifications for all my new videos. Also is a playlist tab on that you can click and see a playlist for every other game I've ever covered. And finally, down below in the description box, I have links to all my social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, and Bell.net. Please follow and friend me on all of those services. That gives you a backup and helps me with those services. That way, in case you don't get notifications through YouTube, you'll get it on Twitter or Facebook or whatever you happen to be looking at. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.